What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Hoop State Live podcast. It has been a busy week. Me, Miles Massacola, here with Rod Bridgers, Anthony Simmons. Rod, we'll start with you. First of all, congratulations.
Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Made the official announcement today, man. My phone's been buzzing like crazy, but no, we definitely appreciate our love and support, man. So, it's a blessing, so we're definitely happy.
For sure. Simmons, how's everything with you?
All love, man. All love.
Good. It's been a fun week, with the playoffs going on and stuff like that. In the state of North Carolina, it was cool on Saturday to see fans back in the building, but we have a lot to get to, and frankly, we should just kind of look at it just like we did last week. Like, this is, you'll be hearing this in March. It's March Madness, and I mean that in every sense of the way. Taking a look kind of at where we are in the Final Four on the 1A side. We'll start in 1A. Wilson Prep beat Henderson Collegiate in what felt like the biggest game of the entire bracket pre-Final Four. They won pretty decisively. I think the final score was 10. It felt like it was larger than that. I know, Rod, I was doing the Reedsville game with you, and you had that game up on the iPad kind of during the first part of the Reedsville game, kind of to see what was going on. How impressive is that for Wilson Prep as a program and a community to get to the Final Four and have a chance to play for a state championship?
Well, first of all, that was a statement win, man. That was a win that kind of put Wilson Prep on the map to kind of make everybody like, yo, we heard about them, but now, hey, they went and beat Henderson Collegiate by double figures. So that's a statement win. And more importantly, man, for our city and Wilson, like the culture in Wilson in basketball it's always been Greenfield, bro. Like in the early 90s and stuff like that, and before a time like that, it was the public schools. But from like 2000s onward, when Ant started the tradition going to Greenfield, for literally, man, ever since then, almost 20 years, it's always literally been Greenfield. So now to see somebody else outside of Greenfield, seeing Ant kind of take what he learned at Greenfield and move and apply that those same kind of philosophies and principles at Wilson Prep, it's amazing to see him and my guy Tay. They got it rolling over there right now, man. Big Eric Wynn, Nasir Blackston, Marion Johnson, those kids, man, they go to get it, man. A little Christian Battle. Simmons, you'll love Battle, man. Battle, a little small guard. He shoot that thing from deep, yo. But they're a tough bunch, man. Super excited about it. I'm gonna be in the building Tuesday for him, man. Like, I shown love in the Final Four, so super excited about that, man. I'm just proud of just being from Wilson. I'm just proud right now,
100%. Simmons, I know, we mentioned last episode, you're familiar with everything on this 1A, with your experience at Voyager. So, for Wilson Prep as a program, kind of like Rod said, what does it mean? And for Henderson Collegiate, obviously you lose the game, you lose A.K. Holden and Javante Waverly. What were their legacies like at that program with what they were able to accomplish over their career?
Their run is one of the best runs that we've seen in 1A. Like, I think, Winston-Salem Prep had a run. Voyager, we had a couple runs. We only got one out the deal. You know what I'm saying? One state championship, one appearance. And I think, Lincoln Charter had their run next. You know what I'm saying? And it was Henderson Collegiate. And I think it's a change. Like, they had under the guard, kind of like Kinston had to give it to Farmville. Now I think Henderson Collegiate, they just had the best roster in 1A, top to bottom, hands down, over the past few years. Like, George Marshall was really blessed with where they come from to this type of players. Like, AK and Javante have caused me nightmares for 3 years, bro. Night sweats, the whole nine, like, because they're dogs. Like, it's no strategy for that. Like, you can't set a defense from guys who want to literally throw the ball off the backboard against you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. And George Marshall, one of the best leaders in the high school game, you know what I'm saying, as far as giving his kids confidence and giving them something to believe in. But, like, to piggyback off what Rod said, like, Ant Atkinson's a family member from him. That's somebody I compete against and looked at for a long time. You know what I'm saying? He's a year older than me, coming up in the ranks. I'd never forget when he did what he did at Barton. I'd never forget, seeing him in a Globetrotter uniform. And I think it's right. You know what I'm saying? I just think he's one of those people that, like, he's the mayor of that city. Like I told him last night, he slid into the DMs, the bug on me, like, yo, apology, bro, you got it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew those guys, you know what I'm saying, like, had a talented team. I just thought Javante Waverly and those guys, with that experience, you know what I'm saying, they would help out. But, that's Ant has a crazy environment for his kids to play in. And it seems like, bro, like from the clips, they was going crazy in there, taking flight, pulling up a three. So like, they're bought in. He's been telling us since the beginning of quarantine they were coming. Here it is, bro. So hats off to him.
Yeah, no, it's been impressive to see kind of that program grow into what it is now. And, this next game and these next two games, if they're able to beat Riverside, it's huge for the program. And I think, Rod, like what you said, it's great for Wilson now. There's always been Greenfield as a staple program, and they're always going to be, as long as Rob Salter they're always going to be a staple program. And now that Wilson has two programs that feel like staple programs, it's only going to make that great basketball city even greater. So it's
absolutely,
it's a big thing for sure. Looking at the rest of the 1A, I mean, Avion Pinner and Riverside, that's a man on a mission right now, what he's able to do. There probably isn't a player in 1A like him. The fact that he's such a versatile 6'7", 6'8" front court player that can do so many things well. Obviously, it feels like this Wilson Prep team is deeper from a talent perspective, but what are they going to have to do to stop a kid like Avion Pinner, and what's Avion Pinner going to have to do against a team like Wilson Prep, Rod?
Well, a good thing about Wilson Prep, they have multiple guys with size. We talk about Avion Pinner, but they have a guy at Wilson Prep, Nasir Blackston, that not a lot of people talk about. I know you saw the videos come out today.
Mm-hmm.
Where, he came in transition, punched it twice. Like that's who Nas is. Nas is the type of guy. He's a two-way player in that sense. What we talk about, he can knock shots down, he can defend, he plays hard, and he's not a meat guy. He's a returning leading scorer last year, actually, but the thing is, like he'll sacrifice his points because they have so many more guys that can score now to take on the challenge. Now, Avion Pinner is a tough challenge because people say Avion Pinner is a high major player, so that's going to be a big test for him. So, but look for Wilson Prep to kind of take him away. But I mean, Avion's so talented; it's going to be a hard task for them. So,
yeah, Simmons, how tough is it, especially in 1A basketball, to match up with a kid of the caliber of Avion Pinner?
It's tough, man, because like Rod said, man, like the thing of it is in 1A, it's like it's rare that you have those teams with guys with that type of size and skills. You know what I'm saying? It's like the year we had Jay Huff, there was only one of them in 1A. And that's how it usually goes. You know what I'm saying? Henderson, the last few years, it was like a Caleb Matthews. You know what I'm saying? But I think with Avion Pinner, it's the same thing. The part about him why I think it's going to be tough is, not only, you know what I'm saying, is he a two-way player for them, but like he has to protect the rim and stuff. So for him, when I look at the details where it's hard is on defense, he's going to have to bang with Eric Wynn. And on offense now, where he would have the advantage, like knowing Ant's going to put like Nas on him. So now you can't use the speed advantage. So him having that speed to be able to exploit those bigs, that's not in play against Wilson Prep. You know what I'm saying? So, that's going to be a challenge for him.
Yeah, 100%. It's like there probably isn't a team in 1A that has more to throw at Avion Pinner than Wilson Prep. So they're going to be locked and loaded, ready to go. That game is going on Tuesday night at Wilson Prep. Rod will be there, I'm sure. He'll be active on social media for that game. Yeah. And, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a camera out there covering it as well. So be sure to stay tuned for some content coming from that. And on the west side, Lincoln Charter is playing Mount Airy. I don't think you two have really seen Lincoln Charter a ton, but I'll just say this, to go through your first 3 rounds of the playoffs and your average margin of victory be 35 plus, you're a pretty good team. I don't care who you're playing against. You're playing against in the 1A bracket against teams out in the West, and you're just smashing them. There's something to be said for that. So I think that they're going to look to beat Mount Airy, who isn't beating teams at that rate. Sam Cogan is a tough guard to match up with in 1A, and they have a ton of shooters around him. So, it's going to be a clash of styles if the two teams that we think that will meet in the state championship end up meeting. But we might have to talk about that beforehand, before Saturday. Again, we might have to do another quick episode and break down the state championship games. But it's good. 1A is shaking out kind of similar to how we thought Lincoln Charter and either Henderson Collegiate or Wilson Prep coming out of the East, and it ended up being Wilson Prep. Moving on to 2A. I mean, we saw some legendary careers end this week. And I think that's what's been on my mind when I'm thinking about this, whether it be Bobby Pettiford or Dontrez Styles or Breon Pass. All 3 of their careers ended this week, and the legacy that they left at their school and they're in their city is special. And I think the one thing that kind of interconnects them Rod, when you think about these three kids, we could just go one by one, but we'll start with Bobby since I know you guys were there for that one. When you think about Bobby Pettiford's legacy, what comes to your mind?
I mean, it's just, it's the thing that we say about all four of those kids. You can throw Don Trez in that conversation as well. We talk about, we heard the rumors, we heard the rumblings over the summer. Well, Bobby's going here, Don Trez is going here, or Breon's going there, or Baby T might be going here. But they all stayed at their school, and they wanted to try to bring a championship back home to their small hometown. And I think for me, and I think for people, I think people around can appreciate that more. Like when you see guys do that, because a lot of times, man, you see guys always trying to run the greener pastures, and we know in basketball, grass is always not great. It's not always green on the other side. So for those guys, I mean, just watching them play their last high school games was tough. You saw Bobby. Bobby was hurt. He was fighting through everything, man, and it was tough to see it. But he still had a hell of a performance. He ended up with 30 points. And last night, the same thing with Breon. Breon was banged up, man, but like it's just giving it his all, man. Like as you saw at the end of the game, man, when he came and checked out, like that really touched you. Like he just like Simmons, he literally sat there for like 10 or 15 minutes, like with his head down his towel. Like people went over to console him. We ended up after the game going over there as well too. But just seeing those kids and how they've grown over the past 4 years, not only as great basketball players, but great individuals as well too. So I'm just proud of all of them.
Yeah, Simmons, when you think about those three guys, and what they're able to accomplish, both on and off the floor, and the kind of people that they are along with the players, what comes to your mind when you think about all that kind of stuff?
I mean, for them, they're just so special, man. And for me, I honestly just want to say personally, thank you. To me, I was telling Rod in a conversation earlier this week, like these are the kids who broke Hoop State to the world. Without them, I don't think we're even doing this show right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they gave us legitimately real stories and allowed us to step into their lives, you know what I'm saying, and grow with them. Like, Bob came on the show, like, you know what I'm saying, like several times. Like, you know what I'm saying, like Bree, same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember back in the day, like in our early days in the Carmel Classic, like Breon would, jump in the chat, you know what I'm saying, and talk to Webb and talk to you guys, and like Don Trez with his commitments, like, the interviews. Like, I mean, these kids mean so much to us, just period, to our state. And I say it all the time with them. It's just like they came in with so much hype, and to end up like for them to come with this much hype, and then we get to see them on ESPN specifically because they're ACC and ACC network to continue to do that. Like, I mean, it's just a blessing. I think all these kids are going to have their jersey retired in their respective schools. We wish them nothing but the best, and these kids actually have a chance to, fulfill their dreams. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually think we don't know if they're 1, 2, 3, or 4 year kids, but, if you give all four of them 4 years, if you're saying they got 4 years to make their dreams come true, bro, I got my money on all four of them.
All four of them.
Like just looking at it, like I couldn't imagine seeing Bobby Pettit for 4 years from now. Like I couldn't like me and Rod talk about T and Trez with their size, like in the systems and the role that's going to be playing with early. And could you imagine Breon, you know what I'm saying? Like think about it, he's in practice with Shaq, he's in practice with Cam, and like who he's getting thrown in the fire with. Like when those guys leave, Lord have mercy. Like his junior and senior year, like, I mean, these kids, like all these kids are capable of 30, 40 point games. And I just would love the team to see their growth, man. But deep down from Simmons, bro, like I thank all y'all. And it's been a pleasure to cover y'all boys, man. Y'all are absolutely special.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I talked to, the only one I didn't really get a chance to talk to, like I sent Don Trez a text, like, just thank you for always, like, and this goes to all of them, like, thanks for always being available for us. Like anytime we ever needed anything from any of them, they were always quick to answer, quick to jump on a Zoom, hop on a podcast, or anything like that. Bro. And they might not understand the impact of that because they're not in this world like we are, but it really does mean a lot to have those kids there for us. And we made sure to express that to them, and we're doing that again right now. But
looking that makes sense though. I mean, real quick, I mean to cut you off, but I mean because it's a lot of kids out here, man, that are really like big timers, and like we're not important enough. You know what I'm saying? So no, for that for them to be available. Another kid, Carter Witt, as well. I know he went to college already, but Carter was also always available for us, man. So no, I definitely, like you said, appreciate all of them guys, man. Yeah,
no, definitely. Carter, originally a member of this class. Pandemic changed things. He had to go up. He'd be getting a send off just like this. Lucas Taylor's another one at Heritage. It falls into that category as well. Will also
Dalen
be in
Berry,
the ACC.
all the boys,
Dalen Berry, like all that whole 2021 class. Any 2021 kid that had their career ended this week from a high school standpoint. The chapter may be ending, but the book is just getting started. So continue to achieve everything that you can. Looking at the 2A games, it's Farmville Central again and again. and what they were able to do, they put up 99 on South Granville, and apparently they took off the gas. They took the foot off the gas for the final 3 or 5 minutes. They were able to completely dominate Reedsville defensively, even when Teed wasn't shooting at a super high clip. Still had a stretch where he took over the game, but wasn't didn't put 50 up, had 28. Still an incredibly great night. Technically a below average night for him because he averages over 30. But when you think about what this team is doing with Raquavion, with Jaden Pitt, with Josh Short, with Leonte Moy, who's just an absolute menace, Rod, they're as well-oiled a machine as they've ever been, and that's saying something, right?
Yeah, man. It's like we said last week. They're like 09 North Carolina right now. Like, barring something crazy happening, bro. Like, they're gonna win a state championship by 25 plus, bro. I'm not, and that's no disrespect to anybody else. That's just knowing what teams are left, and what personnel they have. Like last night, that was probably the worst shooting performance I've seen Farmville have all year, and they still scored 85 points. 85, bro. Leonte Moore, grown man. Josh Short they didn't even run that 1-2-2 zone like they usually do. But Josh Short was everywhere on that court last night, just making plays, man. And they do everything. And then Jaden Pitt, man. Jaden Pitt is growing up in front of our eyes right now, bro. Like, he is growing up right in front of our eyes. Like, people in Farmville, they're not worried. Larry's not worried. Larry knows they got another couple of runs left in them because of guys like Jaden Pitt and Josh Short, man. So, amazing bunch, man.
Yeah. Simmons, is there anything you could even compare the dominance that they've had to, or is it really one in its own? Because it truly feels like we're watching something special happen.
Pasta, they're gonna win the next 3 of these joints, fam. We've never we ain't, bruh. This is it's crazy because I ain't seen nothing like it in 252 because it's it came out of nowhere, bro. It was Tyler Maywood and boy won that joint. And all of a sudden we fall into Jay Wright in the bunch, Samaj. Then it's T, and he's literally y'all saw Josh Short last night. He's capable. You see how fast he's taking the ball off the rim and pushing it up court and stretching out. You know what I'm saying? And it's just bro, Alex Moy, Nick Taylor, Jaden Pitt, Baby Short, all them dudes, Derek Cox Jr., all them dudes are booting up next year. That's a 7-man rotation. They special, man. And shout out to once again, shout out to Coach Larry, man. He knows he has the right recipe, bro. He knows what he's selling. And the guys are buying into it, and they special, man. At this point, man, I'm buying for the boys to go ahead and get some new unis, man. I'm tired of seeing them specking cats in that gold, man. Go ahead and change the flavor, man. Throw us some cool gray, you know what I'm saying? Or bring the black joints back, Nike. Throw these brothers another set, man. For real, dog.
Get
bro,
some city editions.
This is another year. This is crazy. This is another year where it's just are they the best team in the state? I know
I asked Miles that last night, yo.
They might be.
I respect North Met. The playoffs still going on, but bro, they can actually match up with them.
And when we say best team in the state, we're talking Combine, Liberty Heights, Moravian. I'm they're in that conversation. If they say the NCHSAA throws out an unexpected ruling, hey, they're allowed to come to the Hoop State Championship. they're in and they're probably seated high. They're a scary team, man. And my goodness, there's just something to be said. They lost 2 games.
I gotta keep it real, bro. Like them dudes, man. Farmville, they got something special, man. They got something special.
Yeah, bro.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think one of the crazy things when you think about it is when you think of dominance team, you think of like super by the book, like we're going to run our stuff. We're going to be, they play with a level of freedom that is completely unparalleled. And they don't play with the care in the world, but they play the best basketball of anybody in the state. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it is that there's no team that has more fun playing basketball than them. Turquavion was throwing a borderline temper tantrum for being taken out up 30 with 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Like the how much fun they have just simply playing the game. It's crazy to see. So they're playing Northeastern. They get a home game. I was telling Rod, Northeastern upsets Washington. The basketball gods have found a way to get one last game at Farmville Central with fans.
With T.
It feels right, doesn't it?
It's seen yet. They're gonna give them one game where it's back. I'm gonna keep it a band. 40 ball. 40 ball for 40 ball for T, man.
There won't be anything left in the chamber when that night's over.
40 balls, man.
It's so special. But Hendersonville and North Lincoln play. Our guy Keenan Wilkins is putting in work at a 42-point game for Hendersonville. I hate to say it, but it's just good luck against Farmville. That's all I'll say. Because they're that good, and we've been saying it now for I guess 8 or 10 minutes. It feels like, but they're that good. It's just kind of ridiculous. I know this game doesn't really make a whole lot of sense now. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it doesn't mean a whole lot considering that everybody's out. But Reedsville beating Kinston, what Breon Pass was able to do in the third quarter specifically, but really in the second half, he was playing on one leg in the fourth quarter. I don't know if Rod or Simmons, you guys were able to see highlights from that, what he was able to do from a shot making standpoint, but it just shows that Breon Pass is capable of carrying a team whenever against just about anybody except for Farmville.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, man. Just like I said last night, every time Breon shoots the ball, it looks like it's literally going in. Like his shooting stroke is amazing, and the growth I've seen from Breon this summer to now, it's just amazing. First of all, if you look at his body, like Breon's body has changed. Mm-hmm. Breon's already in the college mindset and getting prepared. I know I got to go to college here in a few months. Let me go ahead and get my body right and prepared because that's going to be the biggest thing for those guys, physicality. But just seeing how he carries that team, and he's not a selfish guy. He doesn't hunt shots. He doesn't do any of that, bro. He gets it in the flow of the offense, literally. And that's what makes him such a special prospect. Like he's literally going to step into that Braxton Beverly role for NC State next year, but kind of be a more improved version. No disrespect to Beverly, but Breon can put the ball on the floor and he can defend. And like I said, Braxton Beverly barbecue chicken in the ACC. You know what I mean? But
for the most part, absolutely. Oh yeah, no.
But you know what I mean? But no. But I just think just him just being the prospect that he is, man. Like Simmons said, man. In a couple years, man, iron sharpens iron with Cam, Shaq, and them boys there, man. That's a special bunch, bro, and bro.
Yeah, no, 100%. Any quick final thoughts on 2A? Farmville Central, that's it?
Yeah, three-peat. Bring the T-shirts Saturday to the game, man.
Yeah, facts. Maybe we call the printer up and see if we can get going.
Tell Bryson if you're trying to hit a lick, you need to go ahead and make some Farmville Saga joints. And them joints to sell out, bro.
That's actually make them witty.
Make like 50 or 75 of them. Yeah, definitely.
Facts, Rod.
Bryson is the king of finesse. That sounds like something he'd do. I'll just leave it at that.
Nah, he did not. That's something that he dead ass need to do, bro. Get baby T and the boys on the caricature.
Yeah.
Three-peat shit like the old bullshit, bro.
Yes, that's selling out in Farmville.
He's selling out, bro. Tell him we need that 5% too.
Facts. No, I'll give him a call. I'll give him a call later. 3A. I don't know how we went the whole season without talking about these two kids, but I feel like we have to. I don't know how much of you guys have seen them. I probably sent them in the group chat like 6 or 7 times this year, just because look how good these two kids are. Jaron Stevenson and Drake Powell at Northwood, the two freshmen, have led them to a Final Four duo. there are a lot of good 2024s in the state of North Carolina. I'm not comfortable saying any of them are a better prospect than Jaron Stevenson. At 6'9", being a combo forward, inside-out skill, athletic, can put it on the floor. Like, he looks like he is going to be a national type prospect in that class. And him and Powell, who's like a 6'5", athletic, kind of point wing type, not really a great perimeter shooter, but does literally everything else, 6'5", with super long arms. They have Northwood do a Final Four berth. They knock off Terry Sanford. They're playing West Carteret, who has had a really, really good season and has come a long way. They've beaten teams pretty handily in the playoffs so far. So that's going to be a big game on the east side. And on the west side, Weddington continues to roll through people. I know this is kind of, at this point, teams that we haven't really seen a whole lot, because a lot of the heavy hitters have been, knocked out, whether it be Caden Dawkins in Eastern Guilford or Northern Guilford and Nolan Hodge and Westover and Terry Sanford. But what do you kind of make of I guess Simmons, will start with you, because I know you know Chase Lowe well, and you saw this Weddington team some. What do you make of their dominance, just beating teams by 25 plus, and they're continuing to cruise like they did in the regular season?
I just think it goes to their summer schedule, them playing together, and the camaraderie. And I think it's just like style of play. Like, that style of play has won championships in the state of North Carolina, especially with teams coming out west. Like, when you got guys that can stretch it like that from three, and you don't turn the ball over, like, this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? And these guys play the game the right way. They, create off player movement and shots. It's just like Apex friendship. Like, Apex friendship is not going well. Didn't wow teams with athleticism and size, but that 5-man continuity with that curl cut and shooters out the backside got them boys to the third round, man, almost to the Final Four, letting them trades ride. Like, listen, bro, that brand of basketball works, man. Okay, and that's what's working for Weddington. I think it's going to lead them to a state championship. Like, they were really getting real bumped this summer. Like, They were playing teams where you was like, yo, like, they're down. Like, remember when they clapped Foston boys? Like, they was really playing prospects. So now, like, it's we don't say this, but like, the teams they playing don't have the personnel that they've seen before. So they like dogs off a chain, bro. Yeah,
no. And the one team that, I think, we'll see if they can get by West Carteret, but just the upside of that Northwood team, Rod, just from a legacy standpoint, for a freshman duo to come in and even make it to the Final Four is impressive. But if they're able to get to the state championship and possibly win it, how would that start the legend of Jaron Stevenson and Drake Powell in the state of North Carolina?
Stamped. He stamped. Like, both of them, win a state championship as a freshman in 3A. You've never seen anything like that. So they're just stamped as elite prospects at that point. But I will say this, West Carteret got a few kids, man. They got my guy, Gavin Gillikin, out there. He's going to Barton. Gavin is a hooper, bro. Like, you look at him, he looked like one of them beach boys who ain't got that smoke with him. Gavin got some stuff with him, dog. Like, they put it on Northern Guilford yesterday, bro. So that's a guy to look out for there, man. West Carteret's been a team. They've competed year after year. They win 15 to 20 games every year. They make deep runs. So, no surprise that they're at this point right now. So, but I don't know if they got 6'9", somebody 6'9" to compete with Stevenson. So, like I said, as far as Weddington, man, I'm an AJ Cook fan, man. We all love AJ Cook, bro. Just rock steady. Like we said, we saw those guys play together all summer, literally. They had Big Pat with them, but even after Big Pat left, you still saw them play in tournaments together. And they
Rock Bowen, all those guys.
And they were winning games. That's the difference. They were winning a lot of basketball games. They won a lot of basketball games this summer. So it shouldn't be a surprise what Weddington is doing right now, honestly, at all. Like, you look at, I think a lot of times when people look at Weddington, they say, oh, it's a bunch of white boys out there. We finna cook them. Nope.
Nah.
Right. No, you know how it go, but nah, them boys, that's that group at the Y that come. They bring their five, they run it, they smacking everybody on the court, bro.
Featuring Tyler and Colby Lewis.
Facts. Tyler and Colby would have gotten some big minutes for Weddington back in the day. Tyler probably is a sixth grader, but either way, looking ahead to the 4A, the games this past week, there were so many heavy hitters. I think the two that probably stick out are that Panther Creek North Met game, where Panther Creek almost pulled off the upset of the year. Dalen Berry went down and put on a show in the city that he'll call home for the next 4 years. So that was crazy. North Met found a way to squeeze that one out, and they beat South Met by about 15 the other day. and then the Apex Friendship Millbrook game, which had some moments where there was controversy. Simmons was on the scene reporting live, so he's got a better aspect than anybody, including anybody on Twitter. So Simmons, I want to ask you about that game, and particularly kind of that scramble at the end of the game and kind of how it went down, because it feels like there were multiple moments where both teams should have made a play where they didn't, and it ended up biting them in the butt, and that's why the game ended up the way it did. But how it just seemed like a hell of a basketball game, didn't it?
Yeah, for me, the kids competed, man. Like the kids really competed. Like Kenny Nolan can go. Millbrook, Chris Daniels. Like I want to give them love first, Kenny Nolan, Chris Daniels, because they're both seniors. You know what I'm saying? Like the performance Chris Daniels put up in the first quarter, really first 12 minutes of the game, really he single-handedly kept Millbrook in the game early. Kenny Nolan was leading it with a show for Apex Friendship. They were tough, that continuity. And then in the end, man, it got really spicy. Like, I'm going to be honest, like, playoff basketball, you know what I'm saying? Like, the referees hold some weight. And, I mean, there was a lot of bullshit calls in the entire basketball game. And I think, bringing, like, trying to shed light on one specific one isn't fair to the kids. Mm-hmm. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, no call took away an opportunity to win. You know what I'm saying? And, Millbrook, had the lead. With under 3 minutes to go, they kind of went into a stall strategy. And, Apex Friendship wouldn't be denied. So overtime, it was extra spicy. They were both calls other ways, but Silas Demery Jr., man, stepped up. I mean, Millbrook was down 4 with 2:05 to go. Mm-hmm. Down 4. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got an and one, Proctor Scoop-laid that thing off the glass. Like, the air went out the arena. You know what I'm saying? And somehow, some way, Millbrook came down. Silas Demery Jr. got a bucket. There was a controversy, you know what I'm saying, on the stop. He went down, earned it from the free throw line. And at the end, man, when I'm telling you, when Proctor shot that shot, I 100% thought that it was online. Like, I thought it was going in. It bounced off. Apex Friendship had 2 chances, missed both. And, the game went to Millbrook. But, I mean, you got to tip your hat off to Millbrook, man. They're in the regional final. They battled, you know what I'm saying? And right now, that 5, Silas Demery Jr., special, man. He's special. I think this game was a signature moment for him. You know what I'm saying? His legacy at Millbrook, it has a point guard, you know what I'm saying, to help them get to a regional final. I think it was there like Chris Daniels, special, Red and Eric, you know what I'm saying, like did what seniors needed to do. And, Millbrook got some help from their bench, and they were able to get it done. And Kenny Nolan and Luke Proctor and those guys, man, like that was a hell of a performance. Like I've never seen an offense, you know what I'm saying, like that discipline for, you know what I'm saying, for an entire basketball game. When I tell you they run their shit, they run their shit. That's all I got, man.
No, they definitely do. And, it looked like Proctor had a decent look at it to send the game or to end the game, really, with a 3.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
If it would have went in, that was game time.
Yeah. And Rod, what does this mean for Millbrook? Because they have a chance now in the Final Four. They've been known as a program that has talent year in and year out, but has not found a way to get over the hump and win a state championship. But this feels like, at least on the East side, it feels like Apex Friendship and Millbrook were the 2 best teams, and that was showed on the court.
Right. Yeah. I definitely said yesterday that game should have been the Eastern Regional Final. Like that's that type of atmosphere. That's Minji's Coliseum, fully packed, a barn burn. Yes. That's the type of game that you see in the Eastern Regional Final. And I hate that, those kids were robbed of that opportunity. What I'll say about that game was, is I know the call. I know everybody, the whole, on Twitter, the kind of controversy about the call. I'll say this, man. You have to account for bad calls in a basketball game. Like that's just something you have to account for. Now, whether it changes the game, it goes that way.
Every call changes the game. Every possession is changed.
Every changes the game. I still to this day, it hurts me out hard. My little brother didn't get his state championship in Greenfield because they gave Dennis Smith Jr. a phantom foul call. It hurts. I get it. It hurts. But at the end of the day, it's basketball. It's something you have to account for. With that being said, Apex Friendship still had a chance to win that game. Two instances I look at. First, they had a 4-point lead in the overtime. We talked about that. But for me, that last 2-3 minutes in the game, like what Simmons says, when Milbert held the ball, Apex came down and shot 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3, and they were in the bonus. When I'm a coach and my team's in the bonus, my instincts, I got one of the best guards in the state, Kenny Nolan. Get downhill, attack, get to the free throw line. If we're doing that, then that's going to open up that wide open 3 to kind of be that dagger. So for me, I think it was kind of more of a where Apex had the game in the balance, had a chance to win it in regulation, honestly. But
and then caught a bad break, and
living by the 3, dying by the 3, it's not a type of game. But for Millbrook, like you said, man, they're a story program in the state. They've never gotten over that hump. They've had a lot of great teams. It's another addition of that. It feels like, I don't want to ever disrespect Lumberton because they felt disrespected last year. But it feels like Millbrook is a favorite in this game here. So they just got to go take care of their business. And then, if they do meet North Meck this Saturday, it's going to be, I think in a one-game scenario, I think anything's possible. And what we've seen, Panther Creek apparently has the formula to beat North Meck. So if Panther Creek can I feel like if Panther Creek can do it, Milbert has a chance. So
yeah, and to be real, if Panther Creek can do it, I'm not betting against Audrey Kell either, because I'm not saying I'm betting against them, but I'm saying like they're capable. Yeah. They have a bevy of bodies that can play.
That's gonna be a good game too.
And there's gonna be there's debates about players in that game. Like that's a big time.
Who Audrey Kell got, Miles? I think that's a couple familiar names I know about.
well, Elijah Gray, you familiar? So Elijah Gray, you got Brandon Nelson, you got Noah Carver. They have players. They have real players on that side. And it's going to be a battle with them in North Meck. In Charlotte, you have north side of town versus south side of town. 2 great coaches in Dwayne Lewis and Mike Kraft. So they're going to battle it out. And those, all year, those people said those are the 2 best teams in Charlotte, and they're going to have an opportunity to get after it in the Final Four. The way we feel like probably, the 2 best teams in the Raleigh area with Apex Friendship and Millbrook, they probably should have been in the Final Four too.
True.
But that's just kind of the way the seeding worked this year. Thoughts on kind of the week North Meck has had, Rod, because they had didn't have a great performance against Panther Creek, were able to squeak by and then bounce back with a double-figure win over South Meck.
Yeah, well, first of all, much credit goes to Shawan Robinson and Panther Creek and Dalen Berry and those guys. They had a hell of a game plan, and they executed it. Unfortunately, they came up a little short. But when you have a coach like Shawan, like Simmons can attest to, Shawan has been in big games like his entire life, his entire career. So to him, that game was just another game for him. So if you've been in those type of games, then you know how to win those type of games. And that's the same thing with Ant. That's why I feel like Wilson Prep is successful, because he's been in those big games and he knows what it takes to win those games, what type of mindset you need to have going into those games. So, but I just think at the end of the day, North Mex is probably a little too much, but I don't know, man. Audrey Kell looked good, but I saw Brandon Nelson. He was spraying people the other day at 21 with 5 threes. So, I just think ultimately that's a home game for Audrey Kell too. So, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Simmons, the 2022 forward matchup, there's 2 kids with Jeremy Gregory and Elijah Gray, who are both super, super high level in that class, have some similarities, have some differences. Do you feel like that's, the key matchup in that game between those 2 players?
I think it has, I think a lot of the game can be decided from that matchup. Both teams are going to need production from those guys. If Audrey Kell is looking to upset North Meck, then Elijah Gray needs to step up and have a big game. But it's kind of like, Elijah Gray inside out does a little bit of both. And Jeremy Gregory, he's a man down there when he seals, you know what I'm saying, and that offensive rebounding. So, I think it's going to be a good game. But I think, this is one of those games where can Chris Ford do the things that he does, because I think he's that Swiss Army knife. in this game that with him, his versatility, being able to switch and guard, Elijah sometimes being able to switch and guard other different players and, try to, do some things offensively. I think that can help North Macon. And of course, those two young men that do it the TC way out top, man. You know what I'm saying? Like those two guards, Cunningham and Crawford. If they got it going, Maxwell Coles, I ain't gonna disrespect you, better. Okay.
Tony Yep.
Yeah.
Tony too.
Yeah, man. Like if those guys are going, then I mean, it could be that same song, man.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's gonna be a big game, and I feel like the 4A, it kind of feels like the better teams advance. And Lumberton, Charlie Miller, that whole team over there, they've done a really, really good job, and they're a team that has been there before. Now they've gone on a deep run 2 years in a row, so they're a team that they're ready for anything. They've beaten teams that we thought they had no business beating. They knocked off Apex Friendship last year on the road in the first round when they had Nick and that whole team. So they were able to beat teams that a lot of people don't think they have any business beating. So they're.
So could you break down Lumberton for me?
Yeah, they have some talented players. I think the biggest thing with them is that they have a point guard that can really, really shoot the basketball, and it completely changes the way that you have to defend them because he's a threat when he walks across half court. He played with Flight 22 this summer, Charlie Miller, blonde-haired white kid, really, really good shooter, like really, really good shooter. And then they have a ton of like athletes and just physical kids surrounding him that can play. So, they don't have as much talent on paper as Millbrook. They don't have as much talent on paper as any of the teams left in 4A. But they have a formula to beat teams that have more talent on paper than them. So they have to be considered a threat, even though they're definitely still considered an underdog for sure. But yeah, so that is the public school stuff. We'll be talking. Might try to get one in on Thursday after we know kind of the scores of everything for Tuesday and a preview to state championships. That could be a quicker episode. But speaking of state championships, we had the private school playoffs go down, Final Four and playoffs this past week, and championship this past week. In the 1A, it was Victory Christian beating United Faith pretty handily. We quickly touch on each of these games. I know, Simmons was at the 2A championship, so he can go more in detail on that one because he was actually there reporting live. For everyone that watched that stream, we appreciate you. But yeah, looking at 1A Victory Christian, Rod, it seemed like their talent was overwhelming. Damon Reyes had a big, powerful dunk that, sent some big momentum through their way. What does it mean for Victory to cap off the year that they have with the state championship?
It's funny that people are actually picking against Victory. I'm just like, yo, have y'all seen, and there's no disrespect, but like if you look at the teams in 1A, like it was Victory. It's been Victory since November.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a question. It's been them since November. With the guys Ovali, Luis Duarte, like those guys, they're a complete bunch, man. And they were hurt. They were out Ovali for a long stretch of this season, a big stretch when they had those big games as well too. Not to say they would have won those games, but they probably lost some games that they could have won in that stretch as well too, without him, but having Randy, because Randy stretches the floor for them. But just a complete performance from those guys, man. Just shout out to them, proud of those guys. And that's one of the teams I picked, so I was 2-4. So
yeah, I think I was I think the same. Actually, no, I might have been 1-4.
Oh shit.
I was 1-4. And look, this gambling year hasn't been the best for me either. It's just kind of run of the mill at this point, but it is what it is. Simmons for Luis Duarte and Randy and a lot of those guys that come in to North Carolina, their first year being here to win a state championship. What does that mean for them? Now looking ahead to their senior season where they, they're going to be looked at to repeat.
I think it's big for their confidence. I think it's big for them. Anytime you can associate being a winner besides your name, it means something. And now it kind of puts a target on them in the summer, though.
Yep.
So they have to understand what comes with that. People gonna be trying to get off on them, and stuff like that. But those kids, this is what they want. So we tip our hats off to Victory because they definitely earned it. Like any team that tries to go outside of their norm a little bit and play other teams to prepare themselves for a championship and win a championship, you got to give them respect for that.
And that perfectly leads us right in to the Burlington School. They played everybody. And we talked about this at length, and, some of the losses they took probably sucked in the moment, like really, really did. But it only made them stronger for their goal that they tried to accomplish, and they were able to accomplish it with a really what felt like a handed. They won pretty handedly. They definitely took care of business on Saturday night against Northwood Temple. Simmons, you were at the game, so I definitely want to hear your perspective on how everything went down in the gym.
I'm gonna be honest, Jamari Thomas, man.
What are you eating, yo?
Simple as that, bro.
Poos gummy worm.
Okay.
Good choice.
Them jokes smacking, yo.
Absolutely.
They're hitting right now, G. They're hitting. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, this is how the game started. Tip ball. It's a loose ball. Jamari Thomas goes for it. Somehow, some way, they call it a foul on Jaquan. You know what I'm saying? When Jamari tries to go up. So Jamari gets 2 free throws, 2-0. Come back down. Turnover. Back scratch me. That shit is over, man. That shit was over. Like, from there, like, I mean, it was over, man. Like, I mean, Burlington School got 9 assistant coaches. All right. The environment they create for their players is psychotic, man. I mean, it's crazy. Like, you look down there and you get caught up in everything that's going on. Then the game starts. You know what I'm saying? You call an offensive play, they're calling the play out. And the whole team is shifting to where the play is, bro. You know what I'm saying? Then, you know, you got Jamari, and I mean, bro, like, it got to a point where he just started imposing his will. And I think what really the part that I think that really won them the game was Brady Rankin needed to get off. And it sucked for him because that's the one position where this is who checked him the entire game. 3 people. SP, RR, Zion Walker.
Who can all defend.
It's a dub. Like, they needed him to get off. And then, you know, I got to give Craig credit. Like, Julian Williams averaged 8. I did my research before the game. I ride miles. He averaged 18 points and 8 rebounds for those guys. Bro, K locked the paint down. They couldn't ISO it. They tried to play through Johan Axel. He started shooting trays. You know what I'm saying? And before you know it, Boston crowd was applied, man. Burlington School ended the game with 3 bangs, including a Jamari windmill, a Kobe George quiet slam, and a K lob. Get them boy out of here, man. It was a dub. Burlington School, man.
And then Bernardi hit the 40-yard dash into the locker room.
I was crazy with the little face mask and the mask.
Yeah, no, it caps off a special year for them, and a special journey for every single one of those collective pieces individually. Like, you think about what Jamari's had to go through over his career, dealing with a knee injury, transferring to different school, and coming to TBS and overcoming everything he's had to do, just as a small guard in general. You have Kalel, who's, you know, put the work in to, you know, be more consistent late in the year and showed up in the last 2 games, was really, really important for them. Bernardi as a coach, you know, becoming a head coach at the age of 21, you know, you probably have people talking all sorts of crazy about you because you're like, oh, he doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve this. Year 3, he wins a state championship in his second year at the school. So, and I could talk about each of them individually, but it feels like that it was destiny for them and they were able to do it. Rod, do you feel the same way? As it just feels like it was the Burlington School's year?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you who Ryan Bernardi reminds me of, because I literally watched the same thing happen. Rob Salter, yo. Like,
yep.
Salt was the same way, bro. When Ant started at Greenfield, Salt was just graduated from Barton, bro. Like, Salt was probably 23, 24. He took over Greenfield. People were saying the exact same thing. He's too young. Why are they giving his job? Bernardi's on that same. He won a state championship. It's like his second, third year there.
Mm-hmm.
So that same thing. But no, man, all credit to Bernardi and the Burlington School, man. It was like a year of destiny for them. From day one, we saw them in the hoop state when they played in the scrimmage game when Mari boomed on dude from
off the
tip. Opening off the tip. Like, you saw a different type of team there. You was like, yo, they're for real. And Jamari makes them go. We saw how great he played throughout this entire season. And I give credit to K. Like, K, listen, bro. I told K after they played late on, I said, K, yo, play like that every damn game, bro. I said, when you're running end to end, like me and Simmons saw, we all 3 of us talk this all the time. That is his elite skill set, rim running. When he rim runs, He's blocking shots. He's catching oops. He's catching off the rim. He's doing all those little things. That's what makes him an attractive prospect. K always early on in the season, he wasn't running hard, but now you saw the end of the season. You saw him turn that corner. You saw that light switch. So for K, much credit, man. And that supporting cast, man. Zion Walker, Ryan Roberts, SP, all those guys, Jaquel Powell. I mean, Kobe George hooped last night. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just every game you saw somebody else kind of different step up as well too. So
yeah, and I was gonna say another guy quickly. What Escobar did in the Final Four, he scored the first 14 points of the game. Like, that was crazy. I was like, what is happening right now?
Escobar has a clip, bro. But no, much respect to Bernardi. People got to start giving Bernardi his flowers, man. Like, the dude, he went and played any and everybody. Like, it's crazy because right before the tournament started, I was trying to get him a game with victory. He was like, yo, bro, I'm telling you, swear to God, I want this exact words. Right, I wanted to play, but my coaching staff a little smarter than me. They told me we need to rest. So, like, he's looking all type of smoke, man. Like, so much respect to Bernardi, man. Like, congratulations.
Yeah, no, big ups to the Burlington School for taking care of business and winning a 2A bracket that, we all thought was strong and was probably the strongest collectively, 1 through 8, I guess, for the top teams than any other bracket. Looking ahead to 3A, I mean, these were, Gaston Christian and Asheville Christian, two teams that had up and down years. For Asheville Christian, they're 1-10. Deontay Green arrives, and I think they go 12-7 the rest of the way. So they're able to start winning games when Deontay Green arrives. For Deontay individually, they have other great players on this team. Colin Mills, Max Rogers, the young fella, Christian Anderson, who can play. For Deontay specifically, and Simmons, will start with you. For him to be looked at as a top guy in North Carolina in 2022, to win a state championship and be the guy and really go on a heroic one, what does this mean for him?
He's number one prospect in 2022. Word.
Yep.
I mean, that's just what it means for him. I mean, with the offers he has, with his body of work, like, he wasn't hooping. He transferred, stayed chill. Like, you can just hate on him from there. Like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he won high school. Catch him in the summer. You know what I'm saying? He got big. Mm-hmm. He grown now. I looked on the IG, man. He got big tat across his chest, man. He built himself.
Chest, yeah, bro.
Yeah, he got baby Rose coming out the side.
I'm bugging he light skin too. He light skin, so
I'm bugging on him as soon as I see him. You got your chest out. I'm bugging on him. But yeah, I mean, Deontay Green is 2022. You know what I mean? And I mean that until the summertime, that's that.
Yeah.
No MJ Rice, Deontay Green, man.
Yeah, it feels like he's the guy. For him to come into that school, and you have the two guards with Rogers and Mills, guys that are shot makers. Is it just, it feels like that's a formula to go on a playoff run, is two guards that can get hot and a forward that kind of does everything else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, was that Rod or me?
Yeah, that was for Rod.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, for sure, man. I mean, we've seen Colin Mills get bucket as well over the year, over the summer as well too. But no, Deontay he literally changed the course of that season for that team. They lost a lot of games early too because they was trying to adjust having him on the team and trying to find their footing. I mean, when you get a player of that caliber middle of the season, like, you can't expect it for them just to kind of jump, come off running, come out swinging or whatever. But much credit to them, man. I didn't pick them. Made me eat my words. You know what I mean? Not my dog out. You know what I mean? But it's cool. Much credit, man. Like, much respect. So
yeah, for sure. Looking at the 4A, this is not what I thought. I think Simmons was the only one that had this right. Credit to him. Credit to Simmons. Simmons, I'm gonna have you make a parlay for me next Saturday when the conference tournament starts. Just give you the password and say, here you go. Jarvis Moss, Christian Reeves, and DJ Nix, the big three, and along with Elijah Ormiston, he played great in the first part of the game. They handedly beat a Carmel Christian team that had run through their schedule, and that's kind of what people are talking about. Is the Burlington School really prepared themselves. They lost more games, but they prepared themselves. Carmel didn't play. They had a few tough games, but not to the amount that the Burlington School did. But what does it mean for Canon to win 2 straight state championships after losing a player the caliber of Jaden Bradley Simmons?
I mean, when it's stuff like that happens, you got to tip your hat off to the coach, man. Not right now. I'm drawing a blank as far as his name.
Jay Roth, you're good.
But he's definitely doing a great job of building a culture. And it's kind of me and Rob was having a conversation. I was like looking at, I was like, Rob, man, like it scared me because it's like being a part of, Curry and watching Jarvis Moss. Like when you have somebody like him in the tournament and then him not being like, he's really on the ball with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so like, that's different. But like, for me, one thing of it is what's been Carmel's bread and butter all year is, them being able to have a distinct advantage in the post in the majority of their matchups. Yep. You know what I'm saying? What made me really look at Canon was like Christian Reeves is 7 foot, bro. Like I know a thing or two about footers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yo, at the end of like that's real length, fam. Like you not just like it's a skill to score over that size, So I'm not bugging on Ben. Ben's a hell of a player. It's a difference when you going against a real live footer. You know what I'm saying? And it was able to neutralize that. And then once that's neutralized, you know what I'm saying? It's about perimeter ball. Jarvis more power 5, man. Okay, you feel me? Power 5, and they have a well coached program, and we can't forget about DJ Nix, man. He was big, off. Like you know what I'm saying. Like he was big, and the thing about him is, like when you really look at Carmel, it's just like in order to like Carmel, like I always would say, you have to have that traditional starting lineup. Carmel's coming out, Justin Taylor, Glenn Bynum, and Cade. You know what I'm saying? Like that size. DJ Nix has that size, but he has a little bit more girth to him. So it's just like that's a tough, like in between matchup for him. And I just honestly, man, I think the ball just rolled their way yesterday, man. Like it just rolled their way.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like along with Reeves has a double-double. Ormiston has 15 points. Nix has 20, goes 14 of 14 from the line. And that takes pressure off of Jarvis because Jarvis doesn't need 30 anymore. He really only needs 17 and to hit timely ones.
Right.
So it was a great team win for Canon and for Jarvis to go out as a senior and Elijah, those two, to play big parts in that game. Congrats to them. Rod, what do you kind of make of Carmel's season? Because they, at points, didn't have their full group of guys. I know Ormiston missed time with an ankle injury and Reeves missed time with the back stuff. So, for them to kind of get it together at the right time, was it just, the perfect storm for them? Or it feels like they were the best team in that classification?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's what it really boiled down to. They were the best team in that classification. They knew that. So while Carmel was getting all the publicity and everybody was talking about Carmel, and rightfully so, because Carmel only lost one game. They hadn't lost since Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So and they were on a roll. So like they deserved everything they got. But Canon knew, like, hey, we're just gonna right the ship. We lost a few games that we probably shouldn't have lost, but we were banged up. We didn't have Ormiston for a little bit. Christian Reeves is out for a stretch as well too. But they got healthy at the right time. And like I said on Twitter, man, that was probably one of the more impressive wins of the season period, to go into Carmel on their home floor, state championship game with fans. And they were almost 30, bro.
Yeah.
Almost 30. It was almost 30. So that was super impressive. So shout out to Coach Shay Roth and that bunch, man, for going back to back. Because the biggest question for Canon this year was, you lost Jaden Bradley, you lost no one point guard in the country. How do you recover? Now, the average person will say, "Oh, they're going to take a step back," but that program, man, they're built to win. They're built to last, and that's the way to go on top. Jarvis Moss back-to-back state championships. But my last point is, we still got to give Carmel that credit, that recognition. Coach Badgett did a hell of a job with that team this year. They had nothing to be ashamed about. They lost to a really good basketball team, and my hope is we get to see both of these teams here in the next week and a half. So. That's all I got, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. 2 straight state championships on the road for Canon. Last year, the host school was Charlotte Latin. They won at Charlotte Latin. I know Randy Johnson had 38 points for them in their last game and a loss because, Jaden Bradley was Jaden Bradley. And then now this year, It's a team win. They're able to take care of business on the road for a second year in a row. So congratulations to them. That's about it. We're looking ahead to this week. We'll have coverage from games. Anything else? I know we're going to start talking Hoop State Championship here soon. There were some big games this past weekend from a seeding implication. I'm sure we'll talk about that whenever we get together next. So for any final thoughts, anything you guys got to say to the people?
Nah, man, let's start it. We got a new week. Let's start the week with energy, man. And we're going to be crowning some state champions, and it's almost grassroots time, brother. So it's just almost time to transition. I've been watching Twitter, you know what I'm saying, the rumors. You know what I mean? It's almost that time, brother.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a fun spring or summer, because I think there's still some questions kind of about the format with the live periods, what sneaker circuits are playing when, all that stuff. But let's just say this, man. We're gonna end these last few weeks, the high school season, with a bang, and the summer season we're gonna be rolling right through. So yeah, Rod, any final thoughts? Are you good?
Nah, man, I'm good, man. I'm just I'm good. Yeah.
What you about to talk about? Were you about to talk about the Warriors? You didn't want to bring it up?
Nah, I turned the game, bro. Like I'm tight right now, so we're good, bro.
Okay. All right. Appreciate everybody for listening. And we will see you guys very, very soon.